Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Bad Brad, and today I wanted to talk about Epiphone. And on this channel, I talk a lot about Epiphone guitars, and I've had several gear rants where I ragged on Gibson's management for the prices that they are charging for Epiphones. Okay, now. The question I'm answering today is an Epiphone good enough? And, as hard as I've been on Epiphone in the past, I can't help but say that, a lot of different factors are involved there. Me personally, I think the Epiphone Les Paul Customs, I think they are the best deal out there. Now, without any discounts or, any coupons or anything like that, this guitar is generally $7.99 at Guitar Center. They do have the Adam Jones model, and that's going for $14.99 now. That has a full silver burst. This just has the, black back, no silver burst on the back. But and the Adam Jones has a Duncan distortion pickup or something in the back. So it has an upgraded pickup, and right now Sweetwater actually has the art collection ones that have a graphic on the back. They have those going for $1,099. They're $200 off. So, the other thing that they have now is the new Epiphone Les Paul Customs that are $12.99, and they have a Gibson style headstock, and they have the Gibson 490 pickups. So those have USA pickups and a Gibson headstock, and they're $12.99. And I actually think if you were going to buy a Les Paul Custom, an Epiphone, I think these are a pretty good deal. I'm not a fan of the 490 pickups. I've got them in an SG. They're not my favorite, but they're okay. Now, the Epiphone Les Paul Standards, on the other hand, this has a real ebony fretboard, and it is beautiful. I'm not sure if you could see that in these images, but it's a beautiful neck, and, these, to me, this is what I would get. If somebody asked me, man, I only have enough money for an Epiphone, what would you get? I would get either the Epiphone Les Paul Custom or the SG Custom. So as I've talked about on this channel, I'm not a fan of the Indian Laurel fretboards, but if you can get past that and you like the feel of it and you don't think it looks weird and cheap like I do, then, those have incredible pickups in them. The Gibson custom buckers in the Epiphone SG Standards, the Epiphone, inspired by Gibson custom. That could be a great guitar for you. I'm just not a fan of the Indian Laurel, so I can't get past that. I would search for models like the SG Custom, at $12.99. I don't think that's a bad deal. I know Epiphone's got some of the Adam Jones ones with $200 off. Those are $10.99 with art collection that has art on the back. Sweetwater, is one of my preferred vendors that I buy stuff from all the time. Again, I have a link in the description. If you need anything from Sweetwater and you purchase anything, it helps this channel out immensely, as well as the Amazon link in my channel. So the question is an Epiphone good enough? Yes. Could Joe Bonamassa tour with Epiphones? Absolutely. But I think part of the reason why people spend huge money to go see Bonamassa is he, prances out there with a 59 Les Paul and vintage Strats and vintage Tellys, and he's got his Dumbles and his, old Fender Tweed amps, and it's a spectacle. It's yeah, it sounds incredible, and yeah, it's super expensive. It's kind of like going to see somebody race. You'd rather see somebody race in a really expensive race car than, say, show up in a Toyota Camry. Is the Toyota Camry going to get you there? Yes, and it's be very reliable, just like an Epiphone. An Epiphone is kind of like a Toyota Camry. Now, I'm not ragging on Toyota Camrys because I own one, and I'm very much into sensible cars. A little more flamboyant when it comes to guitars. I probably have spent way more money on guitars over my lifetime than I have ever put into a car. To me, a car is just point A to point B. I've never owned a sports car. It's just not something that is a priority for me. I'd like to own one, but you can't rationalize as a gigging musician spending 10 grand on a guitar to go play $100 gig. It just doesn't make any sense. And there was a pedal steel player I've toured with for a little while, and he said, man, you're spending thousands to make hundreds. And that is absolutely true, because, man, let me tell you something. You could be playing stadiums, you could be playing arenas, and you might only be making $300 a show. And if you do the math, 100 shows, you're looking at $30,000. That's peanuts. You can't survive off that. So you would have to do 135 shows or 140 shows to make, say $48,000. That's what I made the last year I toured, was $48,000. There is no way in heck that it would make sense for me to spend $10,000 of that on a Murphy Lab Les Paul to go out there and play these $300 gigs. It just doesn't make sense. So is an Epiphone good enough? Absolutely. In fact, I did, back when I was on the road, I did take a couple Les Pauls, and I did take a custom shop Les Paul, but it was one that I found on the used bin at Guitar Center for like $2,200. It was a 58 R8. And, I used that, and I used a Gibson, I think it was a Les Paul Traditional, another that I bought, on sale for like $1,500 or something. So, but is an Epiphone good enough? Absolutely. I think these are great guitars, and especially the customs, the Epiphone Les Paul Customs. I love the ebony fretboards. I like the Pro Bucker pickups. They're just fine. I don't have to put new pickups in this. It's fine. Eventually the switch, I might want a Switchcraft because they'll last longer. But other than that, this is a perfectly fine instrument to play a gig with, and I have played a gig with it, and it still looks brand new. Yeah, it's a thick poly finish, but you know what? That's going to protect the guitar a lot more than a Murphy Lab. You're not going to have any paint flaking off of this one, all right? So, an Epiphone is good enough, and I really want to know your opinion. Do you think an Epiphone's good enough? How many Epiphone players do we have out there? And or would you rather, spend all your money on a really expensive guitar and plug into a Boss Katana? I mean, it's a crazy world we have right now where you can get sounds out of these $300 amplifiers that rival stuff that would cost thousands of dollars years ago. So once again, I think, it's to each his own. Let me know your opinion. Is an Epiphone good enough? I think it is. I know I've ragged on Epiphone and Gibson on this channel a lot, and I believe that instruments should be able to be purchased by players. Man, players work their asses off, and they don't always get paid what they deserve to be paid. Let me tell you something. You're doing a gig and you're learning, 30 songs for $100 gig. Man, when you put the hours together and see how much time you spent learning those songs and then playing the gig and putting gas in your car and strings and picks and chords and all that nonsense, man, you're making like $2 an hour. I mean, so, an Epiphone is a perfectly fine instrument for a professional player to play and certainly not worry about when he's on that gig and it's kind of a rough place. All right. So I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Hit the Sweetwater link if you want to get an Epiphone Les Paul Custom. Man, I recommend them. Hit that Sweetwater link. Sweetwater will take care of you, and they'll send you some Sweetwater candy. Also have an Amazon link, and Amazon has great deals on guitars that are even cheaper than Epiphone, and you could probably find a really nice guitar super cheap. I want to thank everybody for watching this video. I'm Bad Brad, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.